This is a trade recap for Wednesday, the 12th of March, 2026. Day number one of phase two for one and done. So just to kind of give the rules real quick on that one and done, only allowed to take a singular trade in a day. With the one minor exception, that is if that initial trade is a red trade and there has been a planned reset trade, then that one can be taken to mitigate that loss. If no loss has been incurred from a normal trade or there's no reset trade planned for, it's off the table. And size wise, we're now doing 2 to 4 contracts ideally, as opposed to 1 to 3 in phase one. And yeah, we're going to do this for 10 sessions and then increase the size incrementally again. So as long as there's no issues. If there's any kind of discipline, emotion issues, then we're going to stick around at this stage for this phase a little bit longer to sort through them. So with that being said, pretty good, normal morning-ish. Had a little bit of a gap down this morning. Both opening was interesting, but not a huge amount of issues. So all in all, went through the plan and listened to Pat kind of give the guidance and mentoring that we needed to really, again, make sure we did our jobs today. And yeah, but if you need a coach or you're seeking a coach and mentor for learning how to do day trading, whether you're brand new or you've been trying this on your own and been struggling, Pat Mitchell over at tricktrades.com is the person you want to see. He has been in the markets for over a decade now and proves on a day-by-day basis that he knows exactly what it's doing. He has a very, very well-structured approach to teaching traders how to do this and build themselves up to a professional level to where, again, they can make a really, really solid income from the markets. He gives lessons every single day live on screen share. And if you are someone that is potentially interested in this and you want to see some of the information he puts out, you can jump over to his YouTube channel, which is at Trick Trades. He has over 1,700 videos on his YouTube channel, and you can get a sampling of the information. He does trade recaps, lessons. There's a lot of information on the page. It's going to be extremely difficult to kind of sift through it all and make sense, because one of the things you will kind of be lacking is, again, the structured approach that members of the service get. But with that being said, let's get into the trades for today. So get this switched over. Let's get the recording pulled up. Just 1 second. Let's see here. All right. So here's the recording from the live session. Just give you the layout if you're new here. These charts here you see on the left, these are our daily charts. These charts in the middle are our 1 minute intraday charts, and then I keep my order execution here on the right. We only trade SPY and Qs. We don't trade any other tickers or any other like approaches like scanners and that kind of crap and news catalysts. It's all noise and you'll spin your wheels with that crap. So don't do it. Now the night before, we'll start looking at this to see what the market has done in the aftermarket session and how futures are looking. And then Pat will plot, again, what he thinks are relevant levels at that time. And something I'll do is also plot my own levels to see if they're kind of in alignment with his. See, again, is my head screwed on straight, that kind of thing. And then the morning of a trading session, he will refine them for a trade plan and really lay out how we're going to trade these levels, moving averages, trends, things like that. And he'll give his thoughts on his approach, what he's looking for, and what we should be looking at as well. And those are all things that we need to really focus on. That way they get ingrained in us. So once the trade plan is done, we kind of just wait to see how we're going to open. So for today, Q's was kind of opening down in this area where, again, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, has moving averages and a technical level above with a pre-existing trend. And then not a whole much down below except for this one technical level. And one key point about these levels, the blue levels you see there that Pat selects, once they're selected, they don't get changed. Once the trade plan is set, it's set. I do put my risk levels on there because I like visual risk, but he doesn't and others don't. And then on SPY, we're opening closer to this lower level. We don't really have any moving averages above. We do have this upper level up here and a minor level, which is kind of pre-market highest range. That might be a potential shorting opportunity. So again, kind of opening up in the middle of nowhere on a couple of these. So we got to see exactly how we're going to open, where we're going to test and whatnot, and see how it reacts. So this is about 10 seconds before the open. Ideally, we're looking for a long off of SPY and a short off of Q. So those are the two kind of more idealistic trades out of the four potential. So let's go ahead and hit play. So we're about to open. Looks like SPY is probably going to test that lower level first. Q's is right there in the middle, so it's hard to say exactly where. But the thing is, if Q's wants to dump out towards that level, it could easily put SPY below, again, that level and even below risk. So it's one of those things where you kind of have to watch, wait, see exactly what happens here. Q's kind of took a little pop there on the open. So we're just watching and waiting. So given that where Q's is opening up, this is where I decided to actually size down because Q's can push SPY and beyond, again, the levels that we're necessarily looking for. So I'm going to advise a little bit of caution. And actually what I'll end up doing here is sizing down. So instead of starting with 2, I'm going to start with 1 because I'm probably going to start just a touch early and not wait exactly for the level, which is sometimes what you have to do. Again, depending on where things, sometimes they'll come right into level. Sometimes they'll go a little bit past. Sometimes they'll react a little bit before. So I wait for it to get to the area, a comfortable area. And that's kind of based on where is that level, where is your risk, and you got to kind of make that calculation. You can see Q's is starting to kind of move down. So it's one thing like, okay, should help pull SPY down into that level. Just got to wait to see, again, potentially what kind of reaction we have. Getting close. Well, saying where it's like, okay, given where Q's is and it has the room to move down, where, well, as SPY is testing that, again, it comes close to the level, going to enter with that 1. If it comes into the level, I would have added the 2. But if I get that first kind of reaction, it's one of those things where it's like, that might be all you get. Then now it's really kind of dependent on Q's on what exactly we're going to do. But again, that's all you can do. And that was the trade. It gave that reaction, came back up into that pre-market opening range or the bottom of the opening range, and there was an opportunity to pay and pay well. So it's one of those things where, well, it was just a singular contract that was, again, a $20 gain, which, again, you're going to be like, again, trading the stock where it's like, oh my God, you should be making way more money. Well, small account building, that's actually what you're kind of looking for. Because ultimately, with a successful strategy, this is infinitely scalable-ish to a point. But by the time size matters, it's gonna that's way down the road. So it's not something that needs to be talked about. So again, like I said, took the 1 contract there as it came down, held the other one for the actual level, and then an additional 2 for if it came through, essentially, to get the full size in. So again, speed it along, kind of see how this plays out, because ultimately, yeah, I mean, does it work out? Absolutely. Again, it came right back up, it went a little bit higher. Now it's pushing even higher. So looking at this, kind of again, I'll go over it real quick on screen. So came down into the level, executed right there, was waiting for it to come down into the actual level. So we got plus, and that looks bad. Let's try that again. So we had, man, I can't draw today. 1 right there, then right there would have been +1 +2, because again, full size starter for me on this one would have been the 2 contracts. So ideally would have gone +2 there. And then if it came down, say lower into risk, again, add whatever remaining. So if I had done 2 there, this would have been +1, 2, 2 contracts there, depending, because again, the max is 4. So depending on, again, is this 1 or 2 right here? And then again, paying on the majority of that on the bounce or reaction, would have ripped out the majority of the size, whatever that is. And depending on the size that was in there, would have made a determination on whether or not would have held one for a little bit longer. But as you can see, it did work, which is that movement back up. And again, sold there on that first reaction. And then if I had more, again, you kind of hold on, see what it wants to do. Probably would have, again, just continue to scale out, again, like in those places right there, there, and there. And that would have been fine. Yes. Did it pull back and then push higher? Yeah. And then would you have added there? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on where you are in this journey in terms of your skill set, the size you're allowing, the risk potential, how much you banked here in terms of risk versus reward. Because ultimately, while this was a successful long here, again, if you bag held it expecting this thing to go like nuclear up there, it's like, is that what happened? No, it rejected. And then because of this movement down, and again, since these are 0 DTE options, the meltdown from this would have, again, you'd be in the red. So again, it's one of those things where, yeah, don't want to do that. So ultimately, though, did it come down right into the risk level and then boom, had that reaction back up? Yep, came down, kind of did the same thing, broke below it, boom, came back up. So again, it's a very valid level. And again, if you tried to play this, say, short, like right here, broke it, expecting it to come down more, came up over, it's like, okay, it's like 69.5 to 70, 71. So again, depending on the size and your skill, you could have taken that short and also made money off of, again, the sell-off. So it's one of those things where it just takes time and understanding the discipline to really recognize what's going on. But again, that's all kind of stuff for a different part of the journey. And that's not where I am. So again, that one singular trade, again, one and done. That's the point of this. One and done, and it works. And generally that first trade to trigger has the highest probability of working out. So yeah, another good day. Again, $20 doesn't seem like a lot, but it's $20 per contract. So you got to think, like, does that ultimately mean a huge amount? No, right now, maybe not. But it's those building blocks, getting everything kind of into where it needs to be. Because as it goes from that 1 to 2 to 5, again, it's one of those things where as your size increases incrementally and you've earned the ability to use that size, as well as grown the account to use that size, this scales out pretty powerfully. And it does not take a huge amount of, say, time to truly get to that point, so long as you put in the time, the effort, the work, and the discipline. But in order to, again, make sure your head's, screwed on right and you're doing things appropriately. That is why a coach and mentor is so important on this. And as you heard me say before, Pat Mitchell over at Trick Trades is the one that can get you there, so long as you're willing to be coachable, put in the time and the effort, and listen, then apply it, then learn the experience and all of that. And yeah, you can become a very successful retail day trader who trades like a professional, and you'll have a great life. But it's up to you. I mean, it really is whether or not you want to, again, take it to that level. If you are interested in taking that level, you can join the education service. There's a link down in the description below for the SizeUp webinar, which is the program I do. It's that very structured approach. And there's also a couple of links for memberships to the service down there. They will get you a discount on your first month in the service. So feel free to check them out. If not, all good. But yeah, that's all I got. First of 10 in phase 2. Let's see what tomorrow brings. Hope everyone has a good one, and we will catch you for the next one. Later.